Hi all. Everything in my videos is pulled from the public domain and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourself, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So to start with, let me just say, for those of you who saw my last video, the trial was postponed for 9 months due to a, quote, confidential problem. I believe that they have a surrogate pregnant, so at least we won't have to see Megan running around with her fake baby bump. I have a feeling the Zoom calls are going to slow down. That way she doesn't have to prove if she's actually pregnant or not. So let's talk about misinformation and hypocrisy, because this is the thing that Harry and Meghan are on now, talking all the time about the internet, how everything is a lie, especially if it comes to things reported on them. And what bothers me is that they themselves have released a bunch of lies to the media, but apparently that's okay. So here's some examples of their lies and hypocrisy. And these are in no particular order. So some examples of their lies and hypocrisy include intentionally telling the media that Meghan was in labor when actually she had had the baby hours earlier and was home already by the time the notification went out. Announcing at the engagement interview that she was going to hit the ground running, when in fact they had already started to plan Megxit. They flat out lied in that interview because they knew they were going to go. But that didn't stop them from using the taxpayer money for their wedding, going on tours, using funds to finish up Frogmore Cottage. They lied about where their final destination was going to be. They told us Canada, but they already knew it was going to be the United States, and they had already arranged with Tyler Perry to live in his mansion rent-free. They lied about their reasons for leaving, as we all know now that it was not for a private life, but for money, which is why they made this documentary deal with Netflix. They lied about why they didn't bring Archie to see the family in March when they returned for their final engagements, citing COVID. We know that that's not true, because if that were the case, they wouldn't have flown to LA in the middle of the pandemic before the borders closed. And as a final insult and kick to his own family, when Harry and Meghan were finally ready to announce everything, after 2 years and Meghan barely doing anything, I think she worked 70 some odd days, they announced Megxit without telling anybody in the family. They didn't tell the Queen. They didn't tell his father. They didn't tell his brother. And when I say Queen, keep in mind that's also his grandmother. All misinformation. Now, in some ways, they're like Diana. Now, don't bash me. I loved Diana. Everybody loved Diana. But it would come out later on that she colluded with reporters. She would call them up and say, hey, I'm going to be here. Come take a photo. Nobody at the time knew this was going on, but she knew how to work the media. So who are these two to discuss the internet and misinformation with anybody when these two are the king and queen of spreading that information and being hypocritical while they're doing it? What I find truly hypocritical about these two is how they're always preaching and telling everybody how to behave, while the two of them have acted so horribly, and they're allowing others to act horribly. As you've probably heard from my previous video about the Sugars, they attack anyone and everyone, including Harry's family, and these two have done nothing to stop them. I mean, my goodness, the Sugars have wished death on Kate and William's children. You really can't get much worse than that. And yet, Meghan and Harry have remained silent. What these two could have done and should do is put out a statement to the Sugars saying, you know, that's Harry's family. Those are my in-laws. Please don't behave this way. But obviously, they're not going to, because they feel in some way it's helping them. The fact that it came out later on that Meghan had actually called and spoken with one of these women who's been one of the first abusers, and the fact that she didn't do anything about it when she found out about it supposedly later on, just shows what the two of them are actually thinking. So what do you guys think? Are they being hypocritical, or are they allowed to lie to the media when it suits them for their protection and privacy? Tell me what you think in the comments, and as always, have a fabulous day.